with the amount of information. It's just phenomenal. It's a designed overload to put off all players. So I've been reading the European Union Withdrawal Agreement Act 2020, which got royal assent on the 23rd of January 2020.
Well, let's just pause for a second, because a lot of people are going to be joining this. They won't have a clue what we're talking about. So a few days ago, Greg told me that he's found something very important. But this is for the listeners that don't know what we're talking about. He's discovered a document that was buried in some British government websites, and the contents of the document are seriously disturbing. So for the last week, Greg's been picking this apart, and he's been figuring out what exactly translates as. So, Greg, if you'd like to tell us what you found. Sorry, mate, to start you again.
Yeah, okay. So it's the European Union Act 2020, which is the withdrawal agreement, and it was given of the UK from Europe, or rather the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland from the European Union. And it was given royal assent on the 23rd of January 2020.
So it's a Brexit document, basically, yeah?
It's the Brexit document, but Brexit actually stands for British Royal Exit.
Right, Brexit, all right.
British Royal Exit. And it says, 1, repeal of the European Communities Act 1972. The European Communities Act 1972 is repealed on exit day, which they later define about 10 pages in, is the 31st of December 2020, so in about 4 months, at 11 p.m. And sometimes when they write 11 p.m., they have no dot after the M. So it's no specific time. And they say, oh, they can alter the time and they can alter the day when it happens whenever they want. So they can say it's in 10 years' time or happened 10 years ago. They've got total fluidity.
Only because there's a dot missing. I mean, a document's that specific, you really have to watch. I suppose that's the expression, dot your I's and cross your T's. It's that specific. Well,
twice they use the word bylaw, but they spell it B-Y-E-L-A-W.
So and by law.
Yeah, by law, exactly. And that's the subconscious text is by law, and B-Y-E-L-A-W is not a word.
Yeah.
Right. And they haven't put erratum in saying, here's the mistake, we've noticed it. So, so not only is PM spelt without a second dot, there's also a clause saying that any member of Parliament or anyone with authority acting in either the European Union or the UK is allowed to alter the time and date of exit day.
Okay, so you've uncovered this document. It's saying it's talking about on the 5th of December 2020. You've discovered some discrepancies in the wording of the document, and after reading all the clauses, give us a rundown of what it basically means in layman's terms.
The sovereignty of the United Kingdom is with the Parliament, not with Queen Elizabeth.
All right. So obviously we've talked a little bit about this beforehand. So you've discovered that Queen Elizabeth was forced into renouncing her sovereignty by the British Parliament in order for them to take this power off her, so they could be the guardian of this massive amount of power. Is this right? Am I reading that right?
Yeah. It's worse than that and more blatant than that. The Europeans' goal was also to steal the sovereignty of the United Kingdom. Parliament has stolen the sovereignty off Queen Elizabeth on the 23rd of January 2020, which Queen Elizabeth signed. She hasn't actually been the Queen since the 1st of January 1973, when she signed the original European Communities Act 1972. But she gave it royal assent on the 1st of January 1973, and when she began her signature, it was treason, and before she'd finished her signature, she was no longer Queen.
Wow.
Because it was giving away the UK to the EU. So the European Union's goal was to strip the United Kingdom of sovereignty. So they've done that effectively from 1973 to 2020. So what's that, 47 years?
Yeah.
And the document that they've presented here on the 23rd of January, the European Union Act 2020 withdrawal agreement, that gives the European Union total dictatorial powers over every aspect of the United Kingdom, over every law, every asset, and every member of Parliament, including the Prime Minister, to backdate and forward date and slip in any law, and have done it with ambiguity and patent ambiguity, which is not legal. Ambiguity is dubious and can be argued and removed. But patent ambiguity cannot be argued into truth. So what they're doing is they've got point 1A, and then it refers to a 1957 document, section 6B, and everything else is repealed and there's one line left, and then that refers to a 1984 document, 3C2, and then that refers to another document. So you start off with a 10-page document and you end up with over 100 pages just trying to find out what they mean, and it's all treason. The whole thing is just treason from both sides. And the only way the UK EU MPs could have signed it is if they had not read it, or if they were totally compromised and had just been filmed in acts of pedophilia.
Right. So let's
on both sides. It is that bad. It is just the worst document you've ever seen. If you were to submit this document as a treaty example, and let's say a master's degree or PhD, put under suspicion of working for, in the Cold War, you'd have been working for Russia or China. Yeah. It's that bad. It is a document to take over all aspects of the United Kingdom and steal all the government departments and invest them in one government department or a lesser number of government departments, and then invest those government departments in a group like the European Union, or invest it in one person. So what it looks like is that the pedophile controller who's been controlling our UK MPs and European Union MPs and the UK European MPs and the EU MPs in Europe, they all appear to be compromised by a handler, and that handler has got them to write the documents in such a way that if he's successful in having all of the United Kingdom transferred to him, then he won't reveal the pedophile blackmail documents on all of those MPs. If he doesn't get the UK, he will reveal the pedophile documents on all the MPs. That's how bad it is.
Well, let's just recap there. So basic, I mean, it's just absolutely, I'm trembling with anger now. You hear things like this, it's just infuriating. So the government document was set up to hand control of every aspect of UK law and rule and law and order into the hands of potentially the whole Brussels. The only reason this could have happened is what you're saying is that one guy at the top of the chain must have had such strong blackmail material that he was able to manipulate and blackmail all of the MPs involved in this document to sign it, or they did it willingly, that meaning this is exactly what they want to do. So in essence, we're going to be speaking either Flemish or French, because the British government has sold us out. I mean, every single part of it. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. Not only that, is that every act that has been repealed can be unrepealed on the day before exit day, like on the 30th of December 2020. So exit day is 11 p.m. on the 31st of December 2020.
Right. I mean,
the courts are closed. The courts and Parliament are closed essentially from the 17th of December to the 11th, 13th of January, which is 27 days. So, but it's basically 2 weeks either side. And 11 p.m. on the 31st of December is smack bang in the middle of parliamentary closure and the courts closure. So that means if anyone goes up in arms and says, We want our UK back. Here's our final document. They have to get them in before the 7th, and the whole of the UK has to act on it before the 17th of December 2020. Because what they've done is they've said the day before exit day.
Yeah.
And we assume that that is the 30th of December. But because there's no legal days from the 17th of December, the day before exit day is actually the 17th of December, which is the last parliamentary day, last court day.
All right. So what do we have to do to, I mean, is there a way we can at least, we're going to get this out everywhere. We're going to send this absolutely everywhere, Greg, this video. Today, it's Monday. What's today's date? Is it the 16th? It's the 17th. So Monday, 17th of August today.
So we've got 4 months. We've got 4 months
to get this as many people to watch it. We're going to attach the link at the bottom so people can download this as well. I'm hoping, please tell me, Greg, please tell me that you've got some sort of legal angle that you can lodge some sort of papers in the common law courts. I mean, what else can we do?
I can. Well, what's happened is the European Union is the last nail in the coffin for common law, and common law is the only rights of the living man.
Yeah.
So you are David, with or without a capital D, G, Mahoney, with or without a capital M, and that's the living man. And what they've done is they've given you a birth certificate in all caps, which means that you are owned by a private corporation. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you register your birth certificate in the common law court, and you get another birth certificate back with you in the lowercase as a living man. Right?
Yeah.
And then you can take that to the common law courts. Now, Britain, the courts of Britain are actually called the Courts of England and Wales, right? And it advertises that, it's the pinnacle of the legal schmozzle in the world, it's just the best. And they stopped saying that about 6 years ago. And then they got this gay judge to run this program on common law in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no common law courts in the UK other than the courts of Great Britain and international. Scotland about 3 years ago. There's actually no common law courts in the UK, and common law courts give you rights. You can say, I've been here 7 years, I've been farming that plot of land, I don't want that guy building on it because I'm using it and I actually own it. I don't even paperwork, but it's been in the family 200 years, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So common law gave the common man rights, right? And now you, in the courts, you're going up against a private corporation. And they've got lawyers and masses of paperwork with strange wording, referring to clauses that you don't know and using foreign language like Latin phrases. And the courts of England are supposed to be only in English, just absolutely only in English. So what they've done with the EU is it's absolutely dictatorial rights, and there's no common law and no common sense. And the EU has given themselves every backdoor to control the UK, absolutely every backdoor they want. And all of the acts that they've repealed and all of the act as being repealed, there's other clauses that say they are still in force under domestic law, right?
Yeah.
And domestic law, EU-derived domestic legislation, as it has effect in domestic law immediately before exit day, so that's the 30th of December or the 17th of December, continues to have effect in domestic law on exit day and after exit day. So in perpetuity.
So what's the point of passing it then?
There is no point. The whole of the EU negotiations for Brexit from June 2016 to now has been a complete utter waste of time. If we got the largest group of pedophiles in history and put them in charge of government and then filmed them having sex with children every day for 5 years, we would have exactly the same result.
Yeah, this document. I mean,
and so what's happened? It's part of the handover. I'm going to be bold and say it's part of the handover of the monarchy to me. the Queen has abdicated. And when I did my first proclamation at about 11 p.m. on the 9th of July 2020, it's a proclamation. And there were a lot of spies there because they were filming it, photographing it, and videoing it, and they never sent me the photos or the film, right?
Right.
And the next morning at 6:24 a.m., the Times, I think it was, put out, or the Daily Mail put out a document, put out an article that Queen Elizabeth II was moving 500 miles north from Windsor Castle to Balmoral Castle. Right? Now, the Proclaimers did the song, I will walk 500 miles, I will walk 500 more. So it's referring to the Proclaimers to proclamation. Yeah?
Yeah.
But in actual fact, the distance from Windsor Castle to Balmoral Castle is exactly 400 miles. Right? So they should have said she was moving 400 miles, but what they're doing is subtly acknowledging the proclamation. Yeah?
Oh, I get you, because they were called the Proclaimers. Yeah.
So what she did was move, she moved to Scotland, which is out of the courts of England and Wales territory. And I had just, in the same night, I just exposed the courts of England and Wales as having shares, being part of a private stock exchange that was running human trafficking and drug trafficking in America and returning 65.6% per annum.
Yeah, this is the Jacksonville, Florida company.
Jacksonville, Florida, and Boston. And so what Trump got that, he received that on the 16th and then July by omitting Jacksonville, Florida from his rally itinerary.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just the way, that's the subtle way things are done. So it's a message only to the person that it's a message to, and not to anyone else. Then it's up to the person whose message is to communicate that message so other people can see this is how messages are communicated.
Yeah. So are you going to lodge any law courts documents about this? And are you going to put an official, can you do that? Can you say, I hereby officially complain, or I would like to block? I mean, you must have something you can do. You're the only person that can really help with this, Greg.
I know. So basically, you know, to put it in blunt words, I've been put in the position where I'm the savior of the United Kingdom, where I can do another proclamation, put this information in, and then everyone can see it plainly. The thing is that it refers to 20 other documents that have been repealed that aren't repealed. And when you write up the 10-page document, you end up with a 100-page document.
Yeah.
And then somehow you've got to get that into a proclamation, which is generally 1 page. So what I'll probably do is write it up as best I can, put that in a document, and then I'll do a single-page version referring to the larger document saying, I declare all aspects of Allen from the beginning.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be done. Otherwise, you won't have any rights at all, just absolutely none. The British people will be a slave race. And the other thing is that the EU currently, until the 31st of December, if you've got a case in the European Union, the EU is allowed to go to anyone, like the village pedophile, and say, what do you think of this heterosexual white male? And the guy will go, oh, I think he's all this shit, done all these crimes. And the EU person will take that as solid evidence without taking his name, without taking any signed documents, and will present that to the judge as though it was coming from the judge without them giving their name or signed document. Right? I mean, so what's happening is the councils in the UK are collecting spy information of pedophiles and using it to destroy people's lives.
Yeah.
That's actually what's happening. So I have come up with something. I just wrote this paper. So this needs to be said. You can adapt it, but this needs to be said.
In Parliament, this needs to be repeated.
It needs to be read out before the 17th of December and during the period of 17th of December to the 31st of December and afterwards. So I've written it for me. You can adapt it. As the Sovereign of the United Kingdom, Joseph Gregory Hallett, I invite you to declare, and I declare, no European Union treaty, legislation, tertiary legislation, regulation, directive, decision, and or instrument is effective in force or in the process of being done immediately before exit day, 31st of December 2020, on exit day, or at any time after exit day, as the European Union has been acting beyond their legal power and authority, ultra vires, writing legislation, addressing it and not sending it, claiming perpetual dictatorship in legislation, regulation and direction of the United Kingdom via ambiguous, undefined words and multiple cross-referencing, resulting in patent ambiguity in its documentation, rendering all the European Union documentation non-legal in any and every aspect, relying on an extorted government and monarchy based on their illegitimacy and pedophilia, which renders all parties treasonous and therefore not able to sign any documentation on behalf of the men, women and children of the United Kingdom who are returning to common law, the courts of England and Wales having been exposed as invested in human and drug trafficking, resulting in the entity known as Queen Elizabeth II leaving England for Scotland in shame, completing her Rex Absconditus in full acknowledgement of Joseph Gregory Hallett as King John III, rightful sovereign monarch of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and every variation thereof, resolutely demanding no influence of opinions, legislation, tertiary legislation, regulation, directive, decision, trick, or treaty, resolved to return to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to common law and real sovereignty for and of the men, women, and children, land, water, air, resources, waves, frequencies, and positive finance, to which the European Union was to be the final nail in the coffin. Wow. True sovereignty means no rule by pedophiles, to which the previous Windsor sovereigns and the European Union failed in a truly spectacular fall from grace. By the grace of God has left Elizabeth and deposed her. The grace of God has chosen Joseph Gregory Hallett as the new king. In the 14 days leading up to exit day, no European Union instruments are in force or in effect, being done or in the process of being done, and the entire United Kingdom is moving in the exact opposite direction of the European Union, which was dictatorship by pedophile and proxy pedophile, where any pedophile could dictate the outcome of any court case without signing their name to any document, and the EU staff also not giving their name or status, but acting effectively as the judge, jury, and executioner as long as it serves men pedophiles.
Wow. So, I mean, what a great statement. So what can the general public, what can we as the general public do with that? Can we adapt that? Can we email it? Can we send it?
Yeah, well, all you really need to do is the last paragraph. In the 14 days leading up to exit day, no European Union instruments are in force or in effect. Yeah.
I mean, what though? Does that need to be said outside of Parliament? Does that need to be posted?
It needs to be read out on all social media and media. It needs to be in flyers. It needs to be deposited in the courts. It needs to be deposited in.
So we need that to trend. Really, that's what we need.
Oh yeah, we need it. We need it absolutely to trend, because the UK is just about to lose everything. Like, I've gone through all the documents, and I've been referencing, cross-referencing it, and I've now got sort of about 60 pages up, and it is just full of outs. There's no in, there's no positive in, there's no positive outcome. It's just saying this, but then doing it. We're not doing this, but then doing it. No? So none of the repeals are effective at all. And anything that the EU says is domestic law in the UK.
Right. Can we find, is there a way to find out who actually signed it? I mean, obviously the top brass signed it, but is there a cross-reference of because I know in a lot of cases when they do pass a law or a document, you know, they get 35 votes yes and 65 votes no. I mean, is there a way to backtrack who actually voted for this and who put it together, Greg?
Yeah, but it was signed by Queen Elizabeth, and either she's the dumbest person on the planet, or she's evil, or she's covering up her illegitimacy or pedophilia.
Well, it sounds like she's put in a corner. I mean, because it happened in January, you put some other papers there in November, right? You issued
November, December, and January, and basically everything's been running off the 20 pages of the statement of claim of my mid-November 2019 document. It's just like the plan, and they're running with it. And this is part of them running with it. Is okay, this guy's the king. We're convinced. So we've got to get rid of the Queen. So we'll strip her of sovereignty and transfer it to Parliament, and then we'll write a really crap document with the EU. We'll get him to expose it as a really crap document, and then take the sovereignty of Parliament. And therefore, Greg Hallett will be king, which is what the plan was all along from 1953.
I mean, yeah, but now that sounds like it's a good plan, but
it is.
What I'm concerned about is they're not going to give it to you, because it sounds to me, you're way ahead of me on this, don't get me wrong, but if the Queen knew she was about to be ousted, they said, shit, let's take it off her and then we'll keep it. Let him go after the Queen, and hopefully you won't discover that she actually doesn't have the power until it's too late, because it's nearly September now. I mean, the chances of you finding this and coming up with a solution for it, I mean, thank God it's happened. But do you see what I mean? If you're going to go after that person, and that person doesn't have what you want, because it's really over here.
Yeah, I know. It is all tricks and tricks, but that's what I said. By the grace of God has left Elizabeth and deposed her. The grace of God has chosen Joseph Gregory Hallett as the new king. I've got a lot of paperwork for that. I've got a lot of evidence. I've got raw marks. I've got a whole history. You've been filming it.
Yeah.
And now they've just actually given me the concrete legal means by which I can become king, sovereign of the United Kingdom. And that is to do the exact opposite of the EU as well, which is to invoke common law. And I've also done that by approving the common law courts of Great Britain and international superior to the courts of England and Wales, who have just been caught human trafficking and drug trafficking and getting a 2/3 return on the money each year.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. This is part of the fairy tale that's real.
Well, I'm happy you're smiling, because your stomach punched. Your stomach punched me. I mean, I don't live in the UK, but still, I'm very pro, being British. I think it stands for so many, the inventions and the medicine, and
Yeah.
I was always led to believe that our legal system, it was the first world a leader, but it seems like yet again corrupt governments that we've all been experiencing. So wherever you are tonight, folks, or today, wherever you're watching, we're all going radio or South Africa or North America.
Yeah.
All of our governments have been manipulating us, and we're getting messages from all around the world again saying, masks, they're talking about vaccines, they're talking about coming into your homes and force testing people. Some countries are more strict than others. And you know what? They haven't been putting any of the demonstrations on. There was a demonstration in Madrid yesterday. There's been demonstrations going on in South Korea. They're not on any of the mainstream media, and they're not putting it on. So wherever you are, folks, we know what's going on, but you've got to get it out on the mainstream media more and do what you can. So this story, if you're connected to the UK, we're going to put a little clip of this slogan that we want you to hashtag and forward and send and get everybody that to talk about this. This has to go out, and don't give it one of these, look at this before it's erased, or you've got to see this, because everybody does that now. You've got to say, if you're patriotic and you want to have your social rights and your human rights, then we need to do something about this as a collective force. Let's get it absolutely everywhere, because don't forget, Britain leads the way. If England, you're going to lose it everywhere else. You're talking North America, South Africa, all of the colonies, and India. And it doesn't matter where you are, you've got to get this all trending. So let's put the link to the document at the bottom. If there's any legal people watching, please pull it apart as well to see if you see anything else that you've missed, Greg, because it's like 60, 80 pages referring to this and referring to that. I mean, I know you're a smart guy, but you're not trained as a lawyer, you're trained as an architect.
So there's a fair bit of crossover there, believe me. So if you like, I can read just one more bit. from
please.
point 3, incorporation of direct EU legislation. For the purposes of this Act, any direct EU legislation is operative immediately before exit day if A, in the case of anything which comes into force at a particular time and is stated to apply from a later time, like 2030, it is in force and applies immediately before exit day on the 30th of December 2020. And anything that applies on the 30th of December 2020 is automatically in force forever.
Well, what sort of madness is that? There's no...
So they're saying, I'm going to make a law that starts in 2030 to the 30th of December, and it'll then apply forever.
I mean,
I know, it's just nuts. EU legislation means EU legislation, tertiary legislation, regulation, or decision. Any EU legislation is directly incorporated in the United Kingdom if the EU legislation, tertiary legislation, regulation, or decision is written in English. Then it applies to England, as though everyone in the UK were notified, even when it was not given to any UK EU diplomat, nor any EU UK MP, nor any UK MP.
That's exactly what it says. That's what it says.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
even
an idiot.
Even if just 2 non-English speaking countries were given the documents in English, who also did not read them and also did not pass them on to anyone in the UK, and it even states it is valid from 2030, it's operational immediately. Yeah, we did that. And especially any new laws slipped in are valid if they have no relationship to any previous EU legislation. Right? So I mean, they can say, the EU can say, we own all your babies when they're born, and I'll slip that in on the 30th of December. It's not in anything else, and then it's automatically law forever. Any EU decision is deemed received by just addressing it without posting or sending in any way.
Yeah, but this is total dictatorship. It's total.
That's exactly what it is. So I'm going to write a letter to you, and so I do the letter, I put it in an envelope, and I write David G. Mahoney, Spain on it, right?
Yeah.
And then it's sitting in my drawer. You know nothing about it because it's written in English. It's deemed received by you.
Yeah, but come on, man.
I know, but that's what I mean. Oh, come on. And in this Act, EU-derived domestic legislation means any enactment as far as made under this section. And it results in, all of this results in an enforceable community right. Right?
The EU community, you mean?
No. All of these laws are then called enforceable community right.
Mm-hmm.
And they're enforceable in law. So, for instance, the COVID-19 masks.
Yeah.
So with 2.2a, for the purpose of implementing any community obligation and changing any rights from white to black, from straight to gay, from national to immigrant, from civil peace to civil war, to wearing masks when no masks are required, to wearing masks when the UK government declared COVID-19 no threat on the 19th of March 2020, or B, dealing any obligation, right, force, operation, or matters arising out of Part 1's 5 pages, which includes the right to store nuclear weapons in Ireland, then cause the Troubles as an enforceable community right, and have Europe support the Troubles in Ireland as an enforceable community right without any logic whatsoever. This is all effective domestic law immediately before exit day, continues to have effect in domestic law on and after exit day in perpetuity. Yeah. So, that is without it, and that is with it being addressed and written in English, but not sent. But not sent to you. You're not even aware of it. And especially if it's completely different from anything else they've ever written, it's even more valid.
Okay, now.
And the laws are called enforceable community right.
So, but man, just stop for a second. That sounds like it's been written by someone who's high on drugs. That sounds like it's a writing laws for the UK. Who would write something as ridiculously open-ended? There's no entry, there's no exit. It's a free-for-all, storing nuclear arms in the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, it's you'd be surprised who writes the laws. Like there's Black's Law Dictionary, and Mr. Black was an opium addict, a heroin addict, morphine addict, and a cocaine addict. And it was called laudanum. So you have a different mixture in the morning to the evening, but he was a complete, utter, total stoner. And he wrote the entire law dictionaries that we still work off today. And then some lawyers have gone through it and go, oh, that's a bit far out. Some of it's quite good, but some of it's just written by a guy who's high on drugs. And it's the same with this. You know, it's like they've got a lawyer and he's, let's say he was being coerced through being filmed in pedophilia, and they said to him, we want you to write the most draconian laws for the UK ever written, and then we want you to write it out, then we want you to split it up so it refers to different parts, and then we'll release bits at different times, and we'll write it so there's no out, there's no remedy, and it's got to be the worst, most draconian, most 1984 document that has ever been produced, and we want it done in such a way that no one's going to be able to recognize it as such.
Well, that's exactly what it sounds like. Greg, do you think that they've done the same thing for other European countries, or is the UK being targeted?
The UK is being targeted because they want the sovereignty. The EU has physically stated and used the words, we want your sovereignty.
Yeah.
And that's the Queen. So the Queen's out. Now the absolute loosehead Len Boris Johnson wants the sovereignty. And as a kid, he said that he wanted to be king of the world, right?
Yeah.
But nomen est omen. What's in a name? Boris Johnson is an anagram of is no job or NHS. That's exactly what's happened. That's exactly what happened. And what happens is they go up to the Blue Swords Freemasonry Lodge in Cootes Bank when they're 19.
Yeah.
As part of the Bullington Club. And David Cameron did this in 1979, and he's there, one of my witnesses is there, and he's jumping up and down as a 19-year-old saying, I'm going to be Prime Minister, I'm going to be Prime Minister. And Boris Johnson will be the same. He was also Bullington Club, right?
Wow.
I mean, what amazes me is that people have been looking at these documents for years and they're specialists.
Yeah.
But all those specialists are actually part of the cover. And what I can't understand is, like I've spent, I don't know, a week on this, and I've absolutely ripped it apart just by laying it out in InDesign and getting what it refers to and putting it on the side pages and taking snippets out and explaining it all. So I'm not taking things in faith. I'm actually looking at what they say. And sometimes you've got to go through 6 lines that actually says what it is actually saying, and you know, you've got to get the definitions of words, and it is the most atrocious document ever.
Basically, you said it was bad. I didn't realize it was bad.
If you got Hitler and Stalin and Chairman Mao and put them together writing a document, they could not write a document this draconian in all of World War II.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
All right, so what we're going to do about it, this is a call to action. For everybody that's watching this, if you want to read the documents and pull it apart, the link is going to be below this video. We're going to put the slogan on there. We encourage you to get it out on every form of social media you can. This campaign is going to build between now in the middle of August right until early December. We're going to get
mid-December, and I want to get as many signatures as I can on me claiming the sovereignty, back off Parliament, and having already got the Queen to get rid of it, back off Parliament, and instigating common law in the UK. That's the remedy, and getting rid of the EU, showing that they are patently ambiguous with malintent.
Right. So that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
How many signatures do you need, you think? Are you talking 100? Are you talking 1,000? Are you talking 5,000?
Well, you know, if I get 24, it's really good, actually signed on the back of the document. But I think, you know, put the document out there, I think, in the short form with the larger form, so a single page, we sign on the back, and the large form document has really got to be online. People can print it off if they want.
Print it off and post it somewhere, no?
Oh yeah, I'll put it on the websites. Yeah, it's just unfathomably dangerous. It's like if they wanted an excuse to kill 95% of the population and start with Britain, this is how they're going to start.
And we couldn't stop it.
They're going to try and dictatorial powers. They're going to kill all of us, and this is the document that will kill us.
Why don't we do this then, Greg? Why don't we prepare a document that people can print at home and then send it somewhere? Send it to the common law court, no? Would that work? I tell you what, let's think about this. We'll get this video out as soon as we can. You have a think about the easiest thing to do that people can do, because a signature on a piece of paper from a person, a citizen, that's powerful if you've got a lot of them, because electronic ones can be manipulated. But for the sake of a first-class stamp somewhere, if we start assembling thousands and thousands of letters with one form that they can sign, I hereby do not consent.
Yeah.
Would that be a good idea?
Yeah, but basically we've got to set up tables all around London, etc., and get people to come along and sign and get the story known and tell them we're going to be.
We could do it by email. Just print one off, print it off. I hereby do not consent. With some form of ID, or maybe the voting number or something. If we had the voting number, then we could establish that it's a real person.
What I can do is get a common law court number and put that on the document.
Exactly.
And so that'll be and then when all the signatures are done, stamp that number on the document so that all of the documents go under the same number.
Yeah.
It's disturbing. I've just kind of really discovered it now just before talking to you.
I don't think I'll sleep tonight because of this. I'm so angry. I better not get on the whiskey tonight because I'll swing at somebody. If I meet somebody in Brussels, I'll swing at them.
Yeah, no, it's just chronic. It's chronic.
All right, so Greg, we'll get this out. I'll tell you what we'll do first is we'll get this out and we'll get the document attached to it. And then over the next few days, we can chat again, let's say Thursday, Friday, as myself and you and maybe John Smith might be able to help about getting a case number for this, and then getting a downloadable, printable document with the address on it that they can send it to. So we've got that, mate. We'll have thousands of these forms all sent somewhere, so we can form a petition and say, we know what you're up to, and so do thousands of people, and we're not having it. And then go from there, no?
Yeah.
Is that a good plan?
Yeah. And we'll take all advice on how best to do it.
If there's any lawyers watching and you are willing to get involved, download the form, pick it apart. You can email us your recommendations and your comments, but we've got less than 3 months to do this. We've actually got 3 months today, haven't we?
August to December, it's 4 months. So we've got all September, October, all November. Yeah, we got 4 months, but it's just huge. It's absolutely huge. I wouldn't mind talking to Nigel Farage and see if I've got it right, because he's supposed to be the expert. Well, why hasn't he said this?
Has he not chirped on about it? Has he not brought it up?
Well, he's chirped on and on and on about it, but no one's ever said anything as directly and simple and obvious as me.
Yeah.
And as I just have, and it's just obvious when you get your head around the treason of it, and that you don't want to believe what they're actually doing. The cognitive dissonance, it is just pure evil, total evil. It's just absolutely 1984, no common law, no rights. And we experimented on for vaccines and death. Really.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Plus the theft. They've also got and they've started to do this. They're transferring the government departments into each other, and the first one's being transferred on the 20th of September and being absorbed, and they're transferring all the government departments into each other then to one person. And it'd be better off if that was myself as the king, and then redisseminate it as common law to the people. Cut the EU right out, because we've got no leadership. There's no leadership in the UK. There's no one leading. We do it or we die is where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Do or die.
there's a lot of responsibility. They're all watching the UK now to see what happens because, you know, there's an election in the States, and we know what's going to happen there. But in the UK, the Queen is not in power anymore. She has no strength, no force to do anything. It's in the hands of, basically, there's a maniac at the wheel.
Bojo, Boris Johnson, is no job or NHS. Now, the other thing is the soft abdication. And Charles' Wikipedia photo has been replaced with his body double.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Any particular thoughts on that?
Well, just that they're not in power and they're trying to get you to recognise the body double, which means that the real one is no longer appearing in public, or is dead, or in prison. Because he did Prince Charles did the Paradise Fires in America in 2018.
He did the what? The Paradise Fires?
Paradise Fires, yeah. So
the Paradise Fires, yeah.
Paradise, Deadwood, and Helltown fires killed, I think it was about 25,600 people, but it was exactly the number of days Prince Charles had been alive. Right, and when it was burning for 6 days and then stopped, that was his 70th birthday. So it was done for his 70th birthday, and it even began at the time of his birth.
Wow, and it's sick. So they killed 25,000 people just to celebrate his.
Yeah. And then on the celebration night, which is at the London Palladium, so he's born on the 14th of November, the celebration was the 13th of November, he had doing
Rowan Atkinson,
Rowan Atkinson doing Toby the Devil.
Yeah,
he's doing Toby the Devil, right? You know.
Okay. Well, look, let's leave it for now, Greg. Let's, rather than we need people to get absorbing of this. We'll get this out. Let's put the link below. This is a call to action, guys. You know what the truth is now. Again, you need to do your own research. Click on the link below. Have a look at it. Lawyers, again, please give us a hand. Get involved. And we're going to be putting a document or some plan together. Give us a few days to get this sorted out. And there'll be a call to action for everybody that wants to save the United Kingdom and keep our sovereignty. Because we're the last strong outpost of freedom, really, the way things are going right now. It's not just us that are in trouble. It's the whole world are in trouble because they're all being manipulated by this gang of deep state, pedophile, freaks of nature.
Extortionists.
It's just diabolical, you know.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I'm absolutely shattered by this, Greg, you know. It's like, is betrayal. When you trust somebody and they really screw you over, you're in shock. No. That can't be right. I can't believe it. It's the denial part of the betrayal that's the hardest pill to swallow. It makes you feel sick in the center of your soul.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. How do I put it? Wearing a mask is identifying you as one of the 95% to be killed.
Yeah.
Because you're identified as stupid and not reacting to save your own life. Right,
like a sheep, a lemming.
Yeah, and also wearing a mask is dressing the same as the pedophiles dress when they're raping children. Do you know what I'm saying? It's so that the pedophiles feel at home surrounded by people in masks. All right, and now they're trying to add goggles. We're in the pinnacle of the sick world, and either we die or we reclaim.
I was in Seville yesterday, Greg. I was walking down the street. It was a beautiful day. I turned around and there was a family, mother and father and two kids. And the mother and father were cleaning the children's shoes with disinfectant wipes as they all had masks on. It's 34 degrees. I wanted to say something, but I didn't have a mask on. Yeah. I wanted to turn around and but it starts at the father and the mother, and then the kids are, this is the new norm. I thought, I'm not even going to bother wasting it because, no one wants to say, you know what, actually, I think you're right. I've been stupid. I'm going to get rid of the mask. They'll fight to keep it on, because now they realize if they do discover that they've been misled, they're going to look like fools. But you know what? It's such an easily identifiable thing. If you wear a mask, you're a television worshipping moron.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You said something funny to me. We're kind of veering off subject a bit. I said to you when I first met you, I said, Greg, how was your lockdown? And you said, well, I just totally bloody ignored it.
Yeah, extended it to I just ignore absolutely everything the government says all the time. And now that I've got over that, which really helps with cognitive dissonance, and I'm reading their documents, they're actually documents of mass deaths for us.
They make the Nazis look like the Sunday morning cartoon club.
Yeah.
This shit. I mean, it's horrific.
Yeah.
But let's leave it there. Let's people absorb it rather than getting into another thing that we normally do about what's coming next and everything. I think this is so important. This needs to be the ultimate underlying message here about what's coming, what you've got to do, and get up off the sofa and do something about it. Don't just sit there and turn off this TV, this internet broadcast now, and go and make a cup of tea and have some chocolate digestives. Think about the consequences of what this actually means. Absorb it, chew on it, inhale it, because you can guarantee this will be the last breath of freedom you'll get if you don't do something about this. If we don't do something about this, we'll all be speaking French, and if we're even alive. It won't affect me, guys. I don't live in the UK, and I've got 2 passports. I got a UK and an Irish passport, but we're doing this for you. So please get up off your bloody sofas and stop being such to happen. And I can't believe it, because it's happening. Download the document, have a look at it, and then we'll be back to you in a few days with what we should do. Is that a good statement, Greg?
Yeah, that's good. I like it. All
right. Well, listen, we'll talk offline. We'll end the broadcast. Be strong, everybody. And please, for the love of God and your freedom and your children and your grandchildren, you've got to listen to this now. This isn't a joke anymore. This is serious. These guys have just stepped it up. They put it into 4th gear. And if we don't let this, if we don't get it stopped, it's exactly what we're going to be like. Living in a nightmare, living in science fiction. And if you think today is bad and your freedoms are restricted today, just wait till 2021. Greg, thank you so much, brother, for bringing it to us, man. I'm absolutely raging. I think I need to go and have a drink to calm down.
Do that.
And, we'll be back in touch with you in the next day or so, yeah?
Okay. Cheers.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.